Hey guys, welcome to Pellets and Pits. I'm Neil. Today is all about should you wrap your ribs, and if you wrap your ribs, what you should wrap your ribs with. Today we're about to find out. We have aluminum foil, we have butcher paper, and we're going the naked style. Stick around and find out. Alrighty, so the idea of this video, should I wrap my ribs and what should I wrap my ribs with? I've seen plenty of people do their own tests, and I thought it was interesting because I've never necessarily done a test side by side. I've had my own theories based on the experience I've had. Now, hopefully it doesn't change my mind because it feels like I'm right, but maybe I'm wrong. I felt like in my early part, I'd always wrap in aluminum foil. I don't necessarily think that that's a wrong thing. I think it's a personal choice. I think so much in barbecue, you try to build the bark. And I think when you wrap completely in aluminum foil, that it starts steaming because aluminum foil is hard for the moisture to penetrate and escape and all that stuff. So then you start losing the bark very quick. Butcher paper, I started to like more and more the more I got involved with barbecue, because I felt like it was kind of like that crutch. It was kind of like both. You were still allowed to add moisture. The tallows from the ribs or from the beef would soak into the paper to keep it moist. And it still seemed like it darkened up over time, which makes you think that there is still moisture escaping. If stuff can come in, you think stuff can come out. That's only a theory of mine. And then lastly, the naked style. I've done naked plenty of times and I enjoy it. Typically I do that on more of a charcoal grill direct heat or my Weber kettle. But today we're gonna find out. We're gonna put everything on the Traeger. We got hovered on 225. I'm gonna put it in smoke mode for the first hour. And then we're gonna cook the ribs to the best of our abilities. And then one's gonna be aluminum foil, one's gonna be butcher paper, and one's gonna be naked. You guys ready?
Yep.
All right. 3-pack from Costco. Typically not much trimming is needed. As you can see, they've already squared the tips off and everything else, so that's good for us. I've mentioned before that I'm actually not a huge trimmer. See the difference right here, how this is trimmed? Let me show you like this, because this is what they've done. Right here, actually. See how that's trimmed off and this is not? I like it. If you guys want to trim it off, but we eat that like jerky. So it's just, once again, a personal preference. I'm gonna rub these really dry. I typically do not even add binders, but today I felt different and I'm gonna add a binder. So that's what we're gonna do. So let's dry them off. We'll start with the presentation side down. That way we don't have to move them often. You come back here and cut some of that fatty if you want to. Like I said, I'm not gonna trim this up. I actually like it. Just trying to make everything even. And then instead of pulling the membrane, we're just gonna score it. Growing up, we didn't even take the membranes off. So it's one of those personal preferences, like everything in life. Not only am I feeling frisky for a binder, we're gonna go binder times 3. Mustard, a little W sauce, just a touch of hot sauce. Just try to combine that and mix that all in. Make sure you get the sides. For a base coat of the seasoning, we're going with our Texas rub. This recipe is on pelletsandpits.com. I've mentioned it several times. Base coat's down, and then come back and hit it with a good barbecue rub. I don't know of any, but if you guys see this online, it's pretty good. I will address this. I see a lot of people commenting saying, dude, that's too much seasoning, that's too much seasoning, that's too much seasoning. And my first comment is, when you put it on there, how much did you add? I've never had somebody come back and say that they've tried it and it said too much seasoning. So I can imagine that they've had other seasonings and they're thinking that's too salty or too much whatever. So you just gotta, be careful. Typically their comment is, I haven't used it, I just know that's too much seasoning. So the reason why we add the base coat is because that's more heavy black pepper and more salt. And in our seasonings, they are not salt forward. They're done. We're gonna flip them over and do the exact same thing on the other side. hit that smoke mode. Yes. We'll run that for an hour. We are using B&B Championship blend pellets today. I'm gonna try to use the top rack. Right here is the hottest, so I might have to put a slab of ribs down there. We won't know until we get there. I'll put the thickest slab of ribs closest to the firebox. We'll be able to rotate these ribs. Dead minimum of 2 hours, and then I'm gonna rotate them and we'll show you the process. Just rotating the ribs, giving our first spritz of the day. We're 2 hours in. Let it keep going. All right, we're rocking about 2.5 to 3 hour mark, somewhere through there. Our ribs are probing about 155 to 160. You see that the bark is set on there nice. So this is what I want to do, keep you kind of updated. I know it's not about the video, but this is. We made a mop sauce because we are smoking a whole pig. So if you guys are interested in that video, you guys can check it out. Pretty excited. And this is what we got. I have never done a mop sauce on ribs before, but you know what? I mentioned earlier that I felt froggy and a little bit different. That's because I had the pig going on and I've been smiling ear to ear. I'm just excited to do it. So we've got onions, lemons, cider ale beer, hot sauce, Worcestershire sauce, red pepper, garlic, and all that stuff steeped down. So this is what I've been basting that big pork with, the big pig. And so we're gonna baste the ribs with it. So just so you know. Since this one has a sharper edge, then I'm gonna leave this one on the grill. Move this one over. Because that might be hard to wrap. Starting to get some nice pullback, not much. The color set. And then basically from here, I'm just gonna try to cook the ribs as even as possible. Now, the one that does not have, or the one that's not gonna be wrapped, I'm just gonna baste it with this mop sauce about every 30, 45 minutes. Whether you think that's fair or not, that's what I'm doing. Turn that over. Not looking to douse it, just adding those layers of flavor, adding that moisture to there. Without being biased, before we even try these ribs, I'm going to pick my favorites. I like unwrapped, then I like butcher paper, and then I like aluminum foil. So I think it'd be interesting to see if my opinion changes
when you're testing them side by side.
Yeah. So far, they've all three held pretty close to temp by rotating them, so I'm not really worried about what rotation I have now. I will still rotate these if necessary, just to try to make sure they cook as even as possible. All right, kind of what I expected, which is typically what happens when you cook with foil. The foil will register at about 195. That's done for me. I don't like mine like completely obliterated and fall off the bone. So I'm gonna go and pull these. I'm gonna leave these on here. And this is about 170 and this is about 165. So since I've already got it off, just go mop it one more time. And then we will glaze them to finish the video once these hit the right temperature. All right, so it's been about, I'd roughly say about an hour after this was done. I've held it in the oven. So what I'm gonna do now is basically just open them up. Just look at the difference in the color. We're just gonna use our favorite barbecue sauce. I've got a blend of 2, so I'm just gonna throw a layer down. I didn't want to keep the grill lid open for long, so that's why I didn't try to talk. But as you can see, the color variations, I thought that, per my opinion, the aluminum foil, you could tell that you just lose that color, you lose the bark. The butcher paper wasn't far behind it, but then when you get to the no wrap ribs, they look absolutely beautiful. So maybe 15, 20 more minutes just to keep them tacky. Actually, I might just bump it up a little bit, maybe just a 275 just for a quick second. That's not going to change anything. And then we'll taste them and see what they taste like. Because ultimately, that's what it really is about, is the taste. I could do a blindfold test, but honestly, when you've done ribs long enough, you kind of know what you're looking for. So Dad's with me today because he feels like that he cooks a better rib than I do, which is highly doubtful. But I'm going to cut you the middle rib.
Make one good sandwich.
Slider.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it looks good, don't it? You squeeze it, get that juice come out of it like they do everywhere
That's
else.
Instagram. This is YouTube. We do the real cooking on YouTube. We ain't squeezing nothing. If you're squeezing, that means your meat's losing juice. I don't have to squeeze.
My God, that's good.
All right, but that's the naked. Okay.
I don't care.
The butcher paper is going to be a little bit more done. You can see it's a little bit more fall off, which is what I expected.
Now, did you cook all 3 to the same temp?
I tried the best of my abilities.
And what
Considering
temp
this
was
had to
that?
hold for an hour, about 195. I don't like mine to go to 200. I think 200 is a little bit overcooked for me. Try that one.
It's pretty hot, ain't it?
Oh, yeah.
Well, not flat hot, heat hot. There's a difference.
Yeah. And then there's aluminum foil. I would probably say the aluminum foil is probably juicier than the butcher paper, but that's expected because the steam can't escape. And typically with pork, that's a good thing.
Let's try this one now. This is lemon foil, right?
Yeah. Now the pressure's on you, because if I give them my opinion, then I'm an idiot.
Hey, my opinion is the naked one.
I agree. I love that char.
I think it's that. It's
No.
got a little bit more pull to it.
Now, do you think that's because we grew up with a Weber kettle and...
Hell, son, our sights like shoe leather compared to this. When we first started cooking these things.
Try to
I
say,
thought-
say that again so they understand
Yeah, so I
that.
don't have to put up a caption.
When we first started cooking, all of our stuff tasted like shoe leather.
Yeah,
we
that
got
wasn't...
older, we thought if it wasn't black and charged, it wasn't good.
You guys think that I can't speak.
This where he gets it from.
So this is aluminum foil, so I'm going to try to give my honest opinion. Looks like the butcher paper, but actually mine overcooked. I don't like my ribs like that. But it never temped like it overcooked. It only tipped about 189.
Let's see if it tastes good.
Yeah. And this is the naked one. I mean, just look at the juice still coming out of it.
I like that little bit more of a pull in it.
Yeah.
I think you lose a lot of your crustiness and stuff like that on one.
Yeah.
Well, some people like it like that.
So my wife likes the fall off the bone tender.
Yep.
I guess when we grew up, since Dad couldn't make fall off the bone tender ribs, that we kind of used an excuse of
We're supposed to be what?
like if you chewed through it and you had a bite and it was good enough.
If we didn't choke, it was all right.
But I do prefer, I like the deeper bark. I don't like mine steamed as much. I am on more of the fact of like, as I learned through the barbecue world, of like I do like the full boat method or the full wrap method or half wrapped, however you want to call it. Because I do truly feel like once you get that bark and the bark set, it just creates a whole new depth of flavor. It holds on to sauce better. I think it's just a better mouthfeel. I think that's what barbecue's all about. Try it out, see what you like, because you guys might like one of these two ribs over that rib. Ultimately, I kind of knew going into it, and I was trying to keep it unbiased. You never know what's going to happen, but we cook ribs enough to know what we like. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to press that subscribe button, pound the notification button, share it with your friends. Hey, don't forget to check out that pig cook either. Peace.
Pound it out.